Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take of things. That's Epictetus, speaking wisdom that still echoes across centuries. It sounds simple, doesn't it? Just change your view, and you'll find peace. But if you've tried to live by Stoic principles, you know it's anything but easy. We strive for tranquility, for resilience, for virtue. Yet, we often find ourselves tripped up by our own minds, by our ingrained reactions to the world around us. Do you ever feel like you understand Stoicism intellectually, but struggle to live it day to day? Do certain situations consistently pull you away from your reasoned judgment? Perhaps you aim for inner peace, but get easily swept away by frustration, worry, or the opinions of others. It's a common experience. We might be consciously trying to practice indifference to externals or focus only on what's within our control. But often, subtle, deeply ingrained habits work against us, like silent saboteurs undermining our progress on the path to becoming more stoic. These aren't grand philosophical errors. They're everyday reactions, thought patterns, and behaviors we might not even recognize as counterproductive. If you feel stuck, or that you're not making the progress you hope for, it's worth looking inward. This video is about uncovering some of those common, perhaps unconscious, habits that can act as significant roadblocks on your Stoic journey. We're going to explore specific traps that keep us from truly embodying Stoic wisdom. Understanding these patterns, shining a light on them, is the first and most crucial step towards overcoming them. It's about gaining clarity on where we might be unconsciously drifting away from our principles, and reclaiming our focus and control. Identifying these anti-Stoic pitfalls is essential for anyone serious about cultivating inner strength and genuine tranquility in a chaotic world. Let's dive in and examine these common habits that might be holding you back. If you find this exploration helpful in your own journey, please take a moment to hit the like button. Sharing the video helps spread these ideas, and subscribing ensures you don't miss future discussions on applying ancient wisdom to modern life. Think about your day so far, or maybe yesterday. Were there moments you found yourself frustrated, annoyed, or just generally unhappy with how things were going? Maybe it was the traffic on your commute, the way a colleague spoke to you, the slow internet connection, or news about something happening across the world. It's a natural human tendency, isn't it? To point fingers, to vent, to complain about the circumstances we find ourselves in. We grumble about the weather, the economy, other people's decisions, the past, the future. So much of our mental energy is spent dwelling on things that, if we're honest, are completely outside of our control. But what if much of that complaining is not just unproductive, but fundamentally at odds with living a peaceful, resilient life? The ancient Stoics would say exactly that. They had a profound insight into this very human habit, and they offered a powerful tool to combat it: the dichotomy of control. This concept is arguably the bedrock of Stoic practice, and it's perhaps most famously articulated by Epictetus in his Enchiridion, his short manual for life. Epictetus, who knew hardship intimately as a former slave, understood the absolute necessity of distinguishing what belongs to us from what doesn't. He put it simply: some things are up to us and some things are not up to us. Things up to us, according to Epictetus, are our judgments, our impulses, our desires, aversions, and in short, everything that is our own doing. Things not up to us are our body, our possessions, our reputation, public office, and in short, everything that is not our own doing. When we complain about the traffic, are we complaining about something up to us? No. When we're upset about how someone else behaved, is that up to us? Again, no. The Stoics realized that much of our suffering comes from mistakenly investing our emotional energy and sense of control in things that are, by their very nature, uncontrollable externals. When you complain about something you can't control, you're essentially wrestling with reality, and reality always wins. You expend precious mental and emotional energy on something immutable, generating frustration, anger, and helplessness. It's like trying to push over a brick wall with your bare hands. The Stoics teach us to recognize this futility and redirect our focus. Instead of fixating on the external event, the traffic, the rude person, the bad news. They urge us to look inward. What is within your control in this situation? Your reaction, your judgment of the event, your decision on how to act despite the circumstance. This is where the practical application comes in. The next time you feel the urge to complain about an external situation, pause for a moment. Mentally, or even physically, take a step back. Ask yourself, is this something within my immediate power to change or influence significantly? If the honest answer is no, you can't change the weather, you can't control the past, you can't force others to behave as you wish, then acknowledge that fact. Release the need to complain about the external. Shift your attention entirely to what is yours, your internal state. What is your judgment about this event? Can you reframe it? What is your desired response? Can you choose patience, acceptance, or a constructive action that doesn't depend on the external changing? This isn't about denying that bad things happen. It's about wisely directing your energy towards the only domain where you possess true freedom and power, your inner world. By consistently practicing this shift, you begin to dismantle the habit of complaining about the uncontrollable and build resilience. Picture yourself for a moment. You've just achieved something. Maybe it's a small win at work. Maybe you finished a difficult task, or perhaps you simply made a choice you feel good about. What's one of the first instincts many of us have? Isn't it to share it, to see how others react, to hope for a word of praise, a nod of approval, or maybe just a like or a comment if it's online? We crave that external affirmation, that little boost that tells us, yes, you did well, or you are okay. Why do we do this? Why does the opinion of the crowd, or even just a few key people, hold so much power over our sense of self? Think about it. We calibrate our internal compass based on external signals, like a boat constantly checking unfamiliar shorelines instead of trusting its own navigation system. What happens when the shore is rocky or the signals are misleading? We get tossed around, don't we? The Stoics saw this tendency clearly, thousands of years ago. They understood that basing your worth on the shifting sands of public opinion is a recipe for perpetual instability and anxiety. It's like building your house on a foundation made of clouds. One moment it's firm, the next it's gone. Your sense of value, your happiness, becomes entirely dependent on factors outside your control. Someone else's mood, their biases, their own insecurities. This is where the core Stoic insight comes in. Your worth, your true value, isn't something granted by others. It's not in the applause, the titles, the possessions, or the validation you receive. It resides within you, in your character, your intentions, your actions guided by reason and virtue. The Stoics didn't seek validation, they cultivated virtue. They focused on being just, wise, courageous, and temperate. These are things entirely within your power. They are your internal bedrock. Imagine a tree. Does its value come from what the birds tweet about its branches or how many people admire its leaves? No, its value lies in its deep roots, its strong trunk, its ability to withstand storms and provide oxygen. Its inherent nature. That's how we should view ourselves. Our strength, our resilience, our goodness, these are internal qualities. So, how do we begin to loosen the grip of this need for external validation? Start small. The next time you do something you're proud of, pause before seeking external feedback. Sit with that feeling of accomplishment internally. Acknowledge your own effort, your own intention, your own virtue in the act. Become your own primary validator. Another practical step, when you receive criticism or praise, try to observe your internal reaction without immediately accepting it as absolute truth about yourself. Ask yourself, was my action aligned with my own principles? Was it the right thing to do according to reason? If it was, the criticism of others becomes less significant. If it wasn't, then their criticism might be useful, but your own judgment is still the ultimate arbiter. Your worth isn't diminished by their opinion. It's measured by your own inner compass. Start practicing indifference, not in a cold way, but in recognizing that external opinions don't define your core. Live by your principles, not by the fleeting approval of the crowd. Have you ever felt completely swept away by anger, fear, or frustration? Like a storm raging inside you, uncontrollable and overwhelming. In those moments, it's easy to feel like you're a victim of your own feelings, tossed about like a small boat in a tempest. This, the Stoics observed, is a form of slavery. Not slavery to another person, but enslavement to our own internal turbulence. We become prisoners of our passions, reacting impulsively, often saying or doing things we later regret. Seneca, the great Roman Stoic playwright and statesman, spoke extensively about managing the passions, especially anger, recognizing how it could utterly consume and destroy a person from within. He saw these intense emotional states not as mere feelings, but as powerful, often destructive forces driven by faulty thinking. Now, here's the radical Stoic insight. These intense emotions, this feeling of being enslaved, doesn't actually come from the external event itself. It comes from us. Specifically, it comes from our judgments about the event. As Epictetus put it in the Enchiridion, men are disturbed, not by things, but by the principles and notions which they form concerning things. Think about that. Someone cuts you off in traffic. The event is simple. A car changed lanes unexpectedly. But your reaction, the surge of anger, the frantic honking, the muttered curses, that comes from your internal judgment. That was deliberate. They have no right. This is an outrage. Your anger isn't caused by the car cutting you off. It's caused by your judgment that this was an unforgivable offense or a personal attack. The emotion is the offspring of the judgment. This understanding is where our power lies. If emotions stem from judgments, and judgments are internal acts of the mind, then we have the capacity to influence them. We are not helpless bystanders to our feelings. This is the core of Stoic practice in action. When that intense feeling starts to bubble up, that sudden anger, that sharp anxiety, that bitter resentment, the Stoic doesn't just react. The Stoic pauses. They create a tiny space between the event and their response. In that space, they use reason, the faculty that defines us as human, according to the Stoics, to examine the judgment fueling the emotion. Marcus Aurelius, writing in his Meditations, constantly reminded himself to look beneath the surface, to see things as they truly are, stripped of the judgments we layer upon them. Is this thing in itself bad? He would ask. The process is simple, though not easy. First, acknowledge the feeling without immediately acting on it. Just notice it. Second, identify the underlying judgment. What thought flashed through your mind that ignited this fire? This is unfair. I can't handle this. They shouldn't have done that. Third, question that judgment using reason. Is it objectively true? Is this event actually harmful to your essential character or your capacity to act virtuously? Is this truly an outrage worthy of destroying your peace of mind? Most often, you'll find the judgment is based on assumptions, faulty expectations, or taking external things too personally. By questioning the judgment, you begin to dismantle the foundation upon which the intense emotion stands. You aren't trying to suppress the feeling. You're addressing its root cause in your own mind. It's like draining the swamp instead of just swatting at the mosquitoes. This deliberate, rational analysis breaks the chain of automatic reaction and allows you to choose a response aligned with wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance, rather than being dragged along by the current of unchecked passion. You move from being enslaved by the storm to being the conscious captain of your own ship. Think about it. Our society, our immediate instincts, they often push us towards the path of least resistance. We seek comfort, convenience, instant gratification. And look, there's nothing inherently wrong with enjoying good things. A warm meal, a comfortable chair, a pleasant conversation. These are fine. But Stoicism offers a powerful countercultural perspective on where true fulfillment lies, and it's not solely, or even primarily, in the pursuit of pleasure or avoiding discomfort. Imagine you're navigating a ship. The open sea can be rough, right? Waves crash, storms brew. Now, picture another ship, one that only ever sails in perfectly calm, shallow waters, always docked near a pleasant shore. Which ship do you think will develop skilled sailors? Which ship will learn to handle any condition? The one that faces the challenges, the one that doesn't shy away from the rough seas. Our lives are similar. If we constantly steer away from anything that feels uncomfortable, if we chase only the gentle breezes of pleasure and ease, our inner sailing skills, our resilience, our courage, our wisdom, they never truly develop. The Stoics understood something crucial about pleasure. It's often a fleeting guest. It comes, it goes, and if our happiness relies solely on its presence, we're setting ourselves up for constant disappointment and anxiety. Why? Because we can't control pleasure. It depends on external things, whether the food tastes good today, whether the weather is pleasant right now, whether other people behave as we want in this moment. Stoic teachers warned against becoming a slave to pleasure, seeing it as something that makes us vulnerable to disappointment. They saw virtue, things like courage, justice, wisdom, and temperance, as the true good, the only reliable source of eudaimonia, often translated as flourishing or true happiness. Think about a time you achieved something difficult. Maybe you finished a tough workout, completed a challenging project at work, or resisted an unhealthy urge. There was likely effort, maybe even discomfort involved, but didn't that feeling of accomplishment, of having overcome something, last longer and feel deeper than the simple pleasure of, say, eating a tasty snack? That's the difference the Stoics point to, the fleeting sensory pleasure versus the lasting satisfaction derived from virtuous action and self-mastery. This isn't about becoming an ascetic who rejects all enjoyment. Not at all. It's about recalibrating our internal compass. It's about recognizing that while pleasures are permissible in difference, neither inherently good nor bad, they are poor masters. When we prioritize comfort above growth, when we avoid discipline for the sake of ease, we hinder our own development. Practicing temperance isn't about deprivation, it's about gaining control. It's about deciding when and how much to engage with pleasure, based on reason, not just instinct or external pressures. Embracing challenges, choosing the disciplined path even when it's hard, this is where virtue is forged. Think of the athlete who pushes through pain during training, not because the pain itself is pleasurable, but because the discipline and effort build the strength and resilience needed for performance. That strength, that self-mastery, that is the true reward, the true good in the Stoic sense. It's stable, it's within your control, and it leads to a deeper, more robust sense of fulfillment than any amount of fleeting pleasure ever could. So, next time you face a choice between the easy path of comfort and the challenging path of growth, remember which one leads to lasting strength. Obsessing over the future is a habit that steals our peace. What if things go wrong? We pour energy into forecasting and controlling things outside our power. The Stoics offer a powerful antidote. Epictetus taught the principle: some things are up to us, others are not. Our judgments, intentions, actions now are ours. The future is not. Trying to control it is like holding water. It slips away, frustrating you. Stoicism redirects us to the present. Focus on your duty now. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself to perform the task at hand with virtue. Not dwelling on future outcomes, but acting well today. Like a farmer planting seeds, not agonizing over weather. Your power is in this moment. This requires presence, being fully here, and acceptance of what happens. Control your present effort, but outcomes aren't guaranteed. Seneca spoke of adapting to events. Equanimity frees you from chasing results. Practical step: when future worry hits, pause. Ask, is this within my control? Likely no. Redirect. What is my duty now? What virtuous action can I take? Focus on present actions. Accept future outcomes with equanimity. Reclaim peace focusing on the controllable present. So we've explored some common challenges, those habits that often feel like stubborn roadblocks on our path to living a more stoic life. It's easy to feel overwhelmed by external events, to react impulsively, or to let our judgments run wild. But the true power of Stoicism, and the core insight we've touched upon today, lies not in changing the world around us, but in mastering the world within. That internal landscape where our reactions, our desires, and our aversions truly reside. Remember the principles we discussed, shifting your focus from what you cannot control to what you can, your thoughts, your intentions, your actions. Practicing temperance, finding that measured response instead of an automatic reaction. Diligently examining your judgments, questioning the narratives you tell yourself about events and people. These aren't just abstract ideas. They are the fundamental tools for dismantling those very roadblocks we identified. Understanding these tools is the essential first step, but real transformation comes through daily, consistent application. It's in the small moments, facing a minor irritation or a fleeting desire, where you choose the Stoic response. It's not about achieving immediate perfection, but about making progress, one conscious choice at a time. So, I want to challenge you right now. Think about one specific roadblock you face. Maybe it's a tendency to get angry quickly, or to worry excessively about the future, or to constantly seek external validation. How can you apply just one of these Stoic tools, internal focus, temperance, or judgment management, to that specific challenge, starting today, even in the smallest way? What's one tiny step you can take? You have the capacity within you to navigate these challenges. The path is already laid out by the ancient Stoics, and the power to walk it lies in your own hands. Practice daily. Share your thought in the comments below. What is one small, practical step you'll take this week to apply a Stoic principle to a specific challenge you face? Let's build this community of practice together, supporting each other on this journey. If this discussion resonated with you, please give the video a like. It helps more people discover these timeless principles. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss future explorations of Stoic wisdom and its practical application in modern life. Thank you for joining me on this journey today. Keep practicing, keep reflecting, and may you find strength and tranquility in the wisdom of the Stoics as you navigate your own path. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. That's Marcus Aurelius writing in his journal, reflecting on how obstacles aren't roadblocks but rather opportunities. It's a powerful idea, isn't it? Especially when you feel stuck, overwhelmed, or like life keeps throwing things at you that just get in your way. We often think of Stoicism as this philosophy of just enduring hardship, of passively accepting whatever comes your way with a stiff upper lip. But that's only scratching the surface. It's a common misconception, fueled by modern interpretations that miss the core of what the ancient Stoics were actually teaching and practicing. Stoicism isn't about just sitting there and taking it. It's an incredibly active philosophy, a dynamic system for navigating the chaos of the external world by mastering the only thing truly within your control: your internal world. Your judgments, your reactions, your intentions. It's about building an unshakable inner fortress, not so you can hide from the world, but so you can engage with it more effectively, more courageously, and with deeper wisdom. This isn't passive resignation, it's profound personal empowerment. This internal mastery unlocks incredible resilience, making you less susceptible to the ups and downs that derail so many others. It boosts your effectiveness by allowing you to focus your energy where it matters most. And ultimately, it cultivates a deep, quiet fulfillment that doesn't depend on external validation or fleeting success. While the world is busy chasing external metrics, the Stoic quietly builds an inner strength that provides a distinct and powerful advantage in life, in work, in relationships. It's the ultimate leverage. In this video, we're going to dive deep into exactly how these ancient Stoic principles provide you with this unique edge, transforming obstacles into opportunities and challenges into stepping stones. Get ready to see Stoicism not as a philosophy of endurance, but as a practical, powerful guide to a life of greater control, clarity, and capability. If you find value in exploring these ideas, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who might benefit, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future insights on building a life of purpose and resilience. Think about the last time you felt truly stressed, frustrated, or overwhelmed. What was it about? Was it the traffic on your morning commute? The way a coworker spoke to you? A comment you saw online? Maybe it was worrying about the economy, the weather forecast, or the outcome of something you had no direct say in. If you're like most people, a huge amount of your daily anxiety comes from things happening outside of you. Things you couldn't change, couldn't influence, and certainly couldn't control. Now, what if I told you there's an ancient idea, a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy, that offers a radical solution to this very problem? It's called the dichotomy of control. Simple, yet profound. It's the principle that divides everything in the universe into two categories: things within your control and things not within your control. The wise Epictetus, a former slave who became a renowned Stoic teacher, put it plainly in the very first lines of his Enchiridion. Some things are in our control and others are not. He goes on to list what's in our control: our opinions, our pursuits, our desires, our aversions. In short, everything that is our own doing. What's not in our control? Our body, our possessions, our reputation, our offices. In short, everything that is not our own doing. This isn't just an interesting philosophical distinction. It's a blueprint for peace of mind and effective action. Why? Because most of the stress and suffering we experience comes from trying to control or worrying about things that are fundamentally outside our power. We get angry at the traffic, as if our anger will clear the road. We fret endlessly about what other people think of us, as if we can perform psychic surgery to change their minds. We tie our happiness to outcomes: landing a specific job, getting a promotion, someone behaving a certain way, over which we have only limited, if any, direct control. The Stoics realized that this misplaced focus is a recipe for frustration and helplessness. When you invest your emotional energy in things you cannot command, you're setting yourself up for constant disappointment and anxiety. Your peace becomes a hostage to fortune, dependent on external events and the unpredictable actions of others. Conversely, the things truly within your control, your judgment, your intentions, your effort, your character, how you respond to challenges, these are the most valuable things you possess. These are the only things where your will is sovereign. By focusing your energy, your attention, and your effort solely on this inner realm, you gain an incredible sense of freedom and power. You stop scattering your energy chasing the uncontrollable winds of external events and instead channel it into cultivating the only territory you truly own: your inner self. This radical shift in focus is the first, and perhaps most crucial, step on the Stoic path to resilience and tranquility. It means directing your mental and emotional resources where they can actually make a difference, not on changing the world outside, but on mastering the world within. Stoicism isn't about suppressing emotions or trying to be a cold, unfeeling robot. That's a common misunderstanding. It's about regulating them skillfully, building an inner resilience so you're not tossed around by life's inevitable storms. And one of the most powerful techniques the Stoics used for this is called negative visualization. Sounds a bit gloomy, doesn't it? Intentionally thinking about bad things happening. But the goal is profoundly positive. Negative visualization is the practice of consciously contemplating the potential loss of things you currently cherish. Picture yourself without your health, your job, your home. Imagine a life without someone you love dearly. Why would you do this? Because we are incredible at taking things for granted. We get used to having our loved ones around, to our security, to our comfort. When a loss occurs unexpectedly, the shock can be utterly debilitating. Negative visualization prepares you. It's like running a fire drill. You practice leaving the building even though you hope there's never a real fire. If the alarm goes off, you have a plan. You're not paralyzed by panic. By deliberately spending a few minutes each day or week thinking about these potential setbacks, you achieve a deep inner shift. First, you dramatically increase your appreciation for everything you have right now. The simple things, like your morning coffee or a friend's smile, become incredibly valuable because you've contemplated their absence. Second, you build mental fortitude. If a loss does happen, you're not completely blindsided. You've already processed the possibility. The emotional hit is less severe. You're equipped to face it with more composure, to think clearly when others are panicking. This ability to remain calm under pressure gives you a distinct advantage, allowing you to navigate hardship effectively rather than being overwhelmed by it. It's a powerful tool for building true, lasting resilience. Most of us naturally avoid difficulty. We plot and plan to sidestep discomfort, dodge setbacks, and sail through life on calm seas. We see problems, challenges, and unexpected obstacles as annoyances at best, and crushing misfortunes at worst. We lament when things don't go our way, wishing circumstances were easier, softer, less demanding. This is a perfectly human reaction, deeply ingrained in our wiring to seek comfort and safety. But the Stoics offer us a profoundly different lens through which to view these moments. They teach us to not just tolerate adversity, but to actively embrace it, to even love it. This is the powerful concept often summarized by the phrase amor fati, the love of fate. It's not a passive resignation to whatever happens, but an active acceptance and even appreciation of the challenges life throws our way. Why would anyone love hardship? Because, for the Stoic, challenges aren't random punishments or signs of bad luck. They are essential training grounds. Think about building physical strength. You don't get stronger by lifting only what's easy. You get stronger by encountering resistance, by lifting weights that challenge your muscles to their limit. Each struggle, each strain, breaks down the old fibers so they can rebuild themselves, thicker and more capable than before. Life's difficulties function in much the same way for our character, for our inner strength. They are the resistance training for the soul. Every time you face a frustrating delay, navigate a difficult conversation, endure a professional setback, or cope with a personal loss, you are being given an opportunity. An opportunity to practice patience instead of irritation. An opportunity to practice courage instead of fear. An opportunity to practice resilience instead of despair. Seneca, the great Stoic playwright and statesman, put it clearly when he said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." He understood that just as physical labor builds muscle, mental and emotional struggle builds character. When you are comfortable and unchallenged, your virtues remain untested, like a sword that has never seen battle. It looks fine hanging on the wall, but its true strength is unknown. Adversity is the fire that forges that sword, the whetstone that sharpens its edge. It reveals where you are weak, forcing you to develop strength. It exposes your fears, giving you the chance to confront them. It tests your principles, solidifying your commitment to them. Consider the person who has faced significant hardship and emerged not broken, but transformed. They often possess a depth of wisdom, a quiet resilience, and a genuine strength that someone who has led a sheltered life simply cannot match. This isn't because adversity is good in itself, but because the response to adversity provides the conditions for virtue to flourish. By viewing obstacles as opportunities to practice being the best version of ourselves, courageous, just, wise, temperate, we don't just get through the tough times, we grow because of them. The impediment to action, as Marcus Aurelius observed, becomes the way. What stands in the way becomes the way forward, strengthening us for future trials. All right, let's talk about navigating your life, or specifically, your daily actions and work. Imagine, just for a moment, that your life isn't a smooth, paved road, but more like a vast, sometimes foggy landscape. Maybe it's a dense forest with countless paths, or a wide open sea with no obvious landmarks. How do you know which way to go? How do you avoid getting lost, wandering aimlessly, or worse, heading straight towards danger? In our modern world, this often translates to feeling overwhelmed by choices, getting pulled in countless directions, or finding yourself busy all the time but questioning if you're actually doing anything that truly matters. We have tasks, deadlines, emails, notifications, and endless opportunities for distraction. This is where Stoicism offers a powerful tool, something far more reliable than just following your gut or doing what's easiest in the moment. It gives you a compass, not a literal one, but a moral one. And that compass is built on the foundation of the 4 Stoic virtues: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. Think of these as your primary navigational instruments. Wisdom isn't just about being smart. It's about seeing the world clearly, understanding what is truly good and bad, and knowing which things are within your control and which are not. It's the map that shows you the lay of the land. When faced with a decision at work or in your personal life, wisdom helps you cut through the noise, assess the situation truthfully, and understand the potential consequences based on reality, not just wishful thinking or fear. Then there's courage. Once wisdom points you toward the right path, courage gives you the strength to walk it, especially when it's difficult or unpopular. It's the courage to speak truth, to do what's right even when it's scary, or to persist through challenges without being broken by them. Without courage, your wisdom might tell you the right thing to do, but you'd be too afraid to actually do it. Justice is your guide for how you interact with others. It's about treating people fairly, honestly, and with kindness. In your work, this means integrity, honoring your commitments, and contributing to the well-being of your team or community. It's the principle that ensures your journey doesn't harm others along the way, but ideally benefits them. Finally, temperance or moderation in self-discipline. This is like the steady hand on the rudder. It helps you keep your impulses in check, avoid excess, and maintain balance. It's the discipline to focus on the task at hand, to resist the urge for instant gratification or distraction, and to manage your reactions, anger, fear, desire, so they don't steer you off course. When these virtues become your go-to guides, they provide incredible clarity. You stop making choices based purely on fleeting emotions, external pressure, or whatever seems easiest right now. Instead, you start asking, what is the wise thing to do here? What does courage demand of me? What is the just way to handle this situation? Where do I need to exercise temperance or discipline? This internal alignment, this moral compass, is what truly prevents distraction. When you know, deep down, what your values are and what kind of person you're striving to be, the countless shiny objects and detours in life lose their magnetic pull. You have a clear destination in mind, defined not by external goals like wealth or status, but by the quality of your character and the ethical nature of your actions. Your efforts become aligned with purpose, because that purpose is rooted in living virtuously. This focused, ethical approach doesn't just make you a better person, it invariably leads to more meaningful and effective work, because your energy is directed, disciplined, and morally sound. You're not just busy, you're building something of substance, guided by principles that stand the test of time. Now, let's turn our attention to something absolutely fundamental in Stoic thought: the concept of external things being ultimately indifferent to our true happiness and virtue. We live in a world constantly telling us that success, happiness, and worth come from accumulating wealth, achieving high status, or earning widespread praise and admiration. It's the relentless pursuit of these externals that fuels so much anxiety and dissatisfaction in modern life. But the Stoics offer a radical counter-perspective. They teach us to cultivate a healthy indifference to these things. Think of it like trying to fill a leaky bucket with water. You can pour in as much as you like, but if the bucket is broken, it will never hold the water you desire. The Stoics would say that relying on external possessions, status, or the fickle opinions of others for your inner peace is like trying to fill that leaky bucket. It's an unstable, unreliable source of fulfillment because you have very little control over it. Your wealth can vanish overnight. Your status can be stripped away. People's opinions of you can change on a whim, often for reasons entirely unrelated to you. Epictetus put it very bluntly in his Enchiridion when he advised, "Do not seek to have events happen as you wish, but wish them to happen as they do happen, and you will go on well." He wasn't saying to become passive, but to understand what is truly within your power and what isn't. Your wishes about external outcomes are not entirely within your power. Your reaction, your judgment, your character, those are. This isn't about becoming an emotionless robot who doesn't appreciate comfort or kind words. It's about recognizing that your core value, your inner peace, and your capacity for a good life do not depend on these externals. True fulfillment, they argue, comes from within. It comes from living according to your principles, exercising reason, and cultivating your character, your courage, justice, wisdom, and temperance. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself in his meditations that the only thing that truly belongs to us is our capacity for rational choice, our inner citadel. Everything else is on loan, vulnerable to fortune's whims. So, what's the practical application here? How do we cultivate this indifference without becoming entirely detached or neglecting our responsibilities? First, start observing your own reactions. Notice how much your mood is dictated by external factors. Did someone compliment you? Did you gain something? Did you lose something? Did you get criticized? Simply becoming aware of this dependency is the first step. Second, consciously practice valuing internal goods over external ones. When faced with a choice, ask yourself, does this action align with my values, or am I doing it just for money, status, or praise? Seneca, in his letters, constantly urged his friend Lucilius to look inwards, to find his own approval and to value the peace that comes from a clear conscience over public acclaim. This doesn't mean you shouldn't work hard or strive for improvement in your circumstances. It means you do these things for the right reasons, because they are virtuous, because they allow you to serve others, because they are the rational thing to do, not because you believe they will finally grant you worth or happiness. Releasing the desperate need for external validation frees up enormous mental and emotional energy. It allows for clearer judgment because your decisions aren't clouded by fear of disapproval or greed. It opens the door to a more stable and profound sense of peace, a peace that the world cannot give and the world cannot take away. It's the difference between building your house on sand or on solid rock. The rock is your inner character, your principles, the things truly under your control. So, as we wrap up today, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've explored together. We've looked at how Stoicism offers us tangible tools, not just lofty ideas, but practical methods for navigating the messiness of daily life. It's about gaining control over our focus, mastering our emotional responses, embracing challenges not as obstacles but as opportunities, acting always with virtue as our compass, and ultimately, discovering a deep, unwavering sense of fulfillment within ourselves. This isn't about simply intellectualizing philosophy. The true power of Stoicism lies in its application. It's in the quiet moments of choosing patience over anger. It's in the deliberate act of focusing on what you can control, rather than worrying about what you cannot. It's in facing difficulty with courage, knowing that your character is being forged in the process. These practices aren't just ways to cope. They're ways to fundamentally build yourself from the inside out. Think about it. When you cultivate this inner resilience, this sharp focus, this deep sense of well-being derived from virtue, you're not just getting by. You're building an incredibly powerful internal foundation. This foundation naturally positions you for a very different, and I'd argue, far more sustainable and meaningful kind of getting ahead. It's not about external accumulation, it's about internal fortification. It's about flourishing regardless of external circumstances. So, I encourage you, don't let these insights remain just concepts on your screen. Take one idea, one tool we discussed today, and commit to applying it in your life this week. How can you practice greater focus today? Where can you choose a virtuous response in a challenging situation? What emotion can you observe without judgment? Your journey with Stoicism is one of consistent, deliberate practice. It's about chipping away at the marble of your character. If this video resonated with you, if it sparked a new thought or reinforced a long-held belief, please consider giving it a like. It truly helps the channel reach more people who might also benefit from these ancient ideas. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, so you don't miss future videos on how to live a more stoic life. Join the conversation in the comments below. Share your thoughts, your experiences, your challenges, or perhaps one stoic tool you plan to implement this week. This community thrives on shared wisdom and mutual support. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. I hope these ideas serve you well as you continue on your path toward wisdom and tranquility. Until next time, stay grounded, stay resilient, and keep practicing. Do you ever feel overwhelmed by the sheer pace and pressure of modern life? Like you're constantly reacting, pulled in a million different directions, and struggling to find a sense of calm amidst the chaos? Maybe the news adds to your anxiety, deadlines pile up, or unexpected problems just keep appearing. It's easy to feel adrift, as if your peace of mind is at the mercy of external events beyond your control. But what if there was a way to build an inner sanctuary, a resilience that could weather any storm? A philosophy not just for ancient times, but perfectly suited for navigating the complexities and stresses we face today. A path to finding genuine tranquility, not by escaping the world, but by understanding and engaging with it differently. There is ancient wisdom that speaks directly to this struggle. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus famously said, "Some things are in our control and others are not." Simple words, but incredibly profound. Think about that for a moment. How much of your stress comes from wrestling with things you simply cannot change? Other people's opinions, global events, traffic, the past. We often spend so much energy fighting these external forces, feeling frustrated and powerless. But what if we shifted our focus entirely? What if we put our energy, our precious mental and emotional resources, into what is truly within our sphere of influence? Our thoughts, our judgments, our actions, our character. This isn't about ignoring reality or suppressing your feelings. It's about gaining clarity on where your true power lies. It's the fundamental starting point of Stoicism, and it opens the door to a deeply practical approach to life. An approach focused on building inner strength, cultivating wisdom, and achieving a profound sense of peace, regardless of what's happening around you. It's a philosophy designed for resilience, for finding strength in adversity, and for living a life of purpose and virtue. It's about turning the challenges you face into opportunities for growth. In this video, we're going to delve into the heart of Stoicism and explore actionable methods that you can start using today to bring more calm, clarity, and resilience into your life. These aren't abstract theories. They are time-tested, practical techniques used by thinkers and leaders for over 2,000 years. We'll look at specific ways to apply this ancient wisdom to your modern problems, giving you concrete tools to shift your perspective, manage your reactions, and build a fortress of inner peace. Get ready to discover simple yet powerful steps that can transform your approach to stress, anxiety, and the challenges of everyday life. If you find value in exploring these timeless ideas and are looking for practical ways to live a calmer, more fulfilling life, please consider liking this video to help others discover it. Share it with anyone you know who could benefit from these powerful principles. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss future videos diving deep into philosophy, self-improvement, and building a life of meaning and resilience. Have you ever felt completely overwhelmed, like you're just a small boat tossed around by giant waves? Maybe it's the news cycle, or that difficult colleague, or just the endless list of things outside your control that seem to dictate your mood and your day. It's that gnawing feeling of powerlessness, isn't it? We invest so much emotional energy fretting over things we simply cannot change. We replay conversations in our heads, wishing we'd said something different to someone else. We worry about the future, about economic downturns, about other people's opinions of us. It's exhausting, and frankly, it rarely changes anything about the external situation itself. It only changes us, making us anxious, frustrated, and unhappy. This is where the bedrock of Stoic wisdom offers a profound, almost shockingly simple insight. It's called the dichotomy of control. Epictetus, the former slave who became a renowned Stoic teacher, laid this out with crystal clarity. He said that some things are up to us, while others are not. Things that are up to us include our judgments, our impulses, our desires, our aversions. In short, everything that is our own doing. Things not up to us include our body, our possessions, reputation, office. In short, everything that is not our own doing. Think about that distinction for a moment. Everything outside of your own mind and your own voluntary actions falls into the category of not up to us. The traffic on your commute, not up to you. What your boss thinks, not up to you. The weather? Definitely not up to you. The past? Unchangeable, thus not up to you. The distant future and its countless variables? Not up to you. We spend so much time trying to wrestle control over these external things, pushing against forces far greater than ourselves. It's like trying to stop a tsunami with a teacup. This struggle is the source of immense suffering according to the Stoics. Now, consider what is up to you, your perspective, how you interpret an event, your decision to act with kindness or anger, your choice to pursue knowledge or remain ignorant, your reaction to a setback, your effort. These are entirely within your domain. This inner world is your kingdom, and you are the absolute ruler. The practical application of the dichotomy of control begins with a conscious, deliberate pause. When you feel that familiar surge of anxiety or frustration, stop. Take a breath. Ask yourself, is this specific thing causing me distress something I can genuinely control or influence right now, or is it outside of my power? If it's outside, the Stoic path isn't to magically make it disappear, but to practice acceptance. Not resignation or apathy, but a rational acknowledgement of reality. This is the first, crucial step toward inner peace, letting go of the futile struggle against the uncontrollable. If, however, the source of distress is something related to your own judgment, desire, or a potential action you can take, then the Stoic task is clear. Focus your energy there. How can you align your inner state and your actions with wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance? Your power lies in responding virtuously to external circumstances, regardless of what they are. Your inner landscape is the only territory you can truly govern. By consistently directing your focus and energy towards what is within your control, your own mind and actions, you begin to build an unshakable inner fortress, independent of the chaotic external world. This isn't about ignoring problems. It's about addressing them from a place of clarity and effectiveness, starting with the only thing you ever truly have power over, yourself. So, we're starting our journey into some powerful Stoic practices. And the first one might sound a little strange at first. It's called negative visualization. Now, doesn't that name sound kind of depressing? Why would you want to visualize negative things? It seems counterintuitive, right? Most self-help advice tells us to think positively, to visualize success, to focus on what we want. And yes, there's value in that. But Stoicism, in its practical wisdom, offers a different angle. A way to truly appreciate what we already possess. Negative visualization isn't about dwelling in gloom or predicting disaster. It's a deliberate exercise. It's about intentionally spending a few minutes, maybe each morning or evening, contemplating the loss of things you currently cherish. Picture yourself waking up, and that comfortable home you live in is gone. Imagine trying to reach for your phone, your car keys, your favorite coffee mug, and they simply aren't there anymore. Think about the gadgets, the clothes, the possessions you take for granted every day. What would it be like if they were suddenly missing? This might feel uncomfortable, and that's okay. The Stoics weren't about feeling good all the time. They were about seeing reality clearly and building inner strength. Now, take it a step further. Imagine waking up and your health isn't what it is today. Think about a simple walk, climbing stairs, or even just getting out of bed becoming a struggle. We often only appreciate our ability to move and function when it's threatened. And perhaps most powerfully, negative visualization extends to the people in our lives. Picture a day without the laughter of a child, the comforting presence of a partner, the easy chat with a friend, or the wise words of a parent. Imagine that phone call you make so easily couldn't be made. Think about the silence where their voice used to be. This isn't morbid, it's realistic. Life is impermanent. People leave, circumstances change. Why do the Stoics advocate this seemingly grim practice? For two powerful reasons. First, it cultivates profound gratitude. When you spend time truly imagining your life without something you value, your health, your home, a loved one, you suddenly see it through new eyes. That simple cup of coffee tastes better. The walk around the block feels like a gift. The text message from a friend is a treasure. It's like being parched and suddenly finding clean water. You appreciate it in a way you never could when you had an endless supply. Negative visualization makes the ordinary extraordinary again. It pulls you out of the trap of taking things for granted, which is a major source of discontent. The second reason is resilience. By mentally rehearsing the possibility of loss, you build a kind of psychological armor. It's like a fire drill. You hope you never need it, but practicing the evacuation makes you calmer and more prepared if a real fire happens. Similarly, contemplating potential adversity doesn't attract it, but it does prepare your mind to handle it with more equanimity if it ever occurs. It reduces the crippling anxiety about loss because you've already faced the possibility in your mind and realized you could potentially endure it. You recognize that while the loss would be painful, you would likely survive and adapt, just as people have done throughout history. It shifts your focus from a fear of losing things to an appreciation of what you possess right now and confidence in your inner capacity to face whatever may come. So, the actionable step here is simple but powerful. Try dedicating 5 minutes each day to this practice. Think about one thing you appreciate. It could be your sight, your ability to walk, the roof over your head, or a specific relationship. Then, spend those 5 minutes truly visualizing what your life would be like if you lost it. Don't just think the words, feel the absence. Let the sense of potential loss sink in. Then, shift back to your current reality and feel the wave of gratitude for still having it. This isn't about being negative, it's about being present and appreciative. Imagine you're preparing for a marathon. You don't just show up on race day. You train, you push your limits, sometimes experiencing discomfort, sore muscles, fatigue, the cold bite of an early morning run. The Stoics applied this same principle, not just to the body, but to the mind and spirit. They actively, intentionally, sought out minor discomforts in their daily lives. It wasn't a form of penance or masochism. Far from it, it was a form of proactive training, a way to inoculate themselves against the inevitable hardships that fate might throw their way. Seneca, the Roman Stoic playwright and statesman, wrote about periodically living on the simplest food, wearing coarse clothes, or sleeping on the floor. He saw it as a crucial practice to prove to himself and to fortune that he could endure deprivation. He understood that the fear of losing comfort is often more debilitating than the loss itself. By voluntarily experiencing a taste of hardship, he diminished its power over his mind. He wasn't just talking the talk, he was walking the walk, or perhaps sleeping on the floor. This deliberate exposure builds a kind of mental callousness, a resilience that doesn't crumble at the first sign of trouble. Think about taking a cold shower in the morning. It's uncomfortable, even jarring, but by facing that minor shock voluntarily, you assert control over your reaction. You learn that you can choose how you respond to an unpleasant sensation, rather than being instinctively driven by aversion. Or consider opting to walk a reasonable distance instead of taking the car or public transport. It might take longer, it might be tiring, or expose you to less than ideal weather. But it breaks the automatic reliance on convenience. It shows you that you are capable of enduring a little physical effort for a purpose. Even choosing a simple, perhaps bland meal occasionally, when you could easily have something rich and satisfying, serves this purpose. It's a small rebellion against the constant pull of pleasure and comfort. Each of these small acts, these intentional discomforts, serves as a miniature test. They test your dependence on external comforts and reveal your inner capacity to cope. Epictetus taught extensively on the importance of focusing on what is within our control, our judgments and our actions, and distinguishing these from what is outside our control: wealth, health, reputation, and yes, comfort. By voluntarily stepping away from comfort, even just temporarily, you reinforce this distinction. You prove that your well-being isn't fragile, isn't solely dependent on having things easy. You build a reservoir of inner strength. When actual hardship arrives, the loss of a possession, a job setback, a physical challenge, your mind is not encountering discomfort for the first time. It has practiced, it knows it can endure. This practice transforms the fear of hardship into a quiet confidence in your ability to handle whatever comes. It makes you less vulnerable to the whims of fortune because your happiness isn't anchored to the unstable ground of external convenience. So, you're on this path of Stoicism, right? You're learning the principles. Maybe you've read some Epictetus or Seneca. But how do you actually live it, day in and day out, when things get tough? When someone cuts you off in traffic, when you get bad news, when you feel that sting of envy. The Stoics weren't just philosophers, they were practitioners. And one of their most powerful, practical tools, the one they used to keep themselves honest, was journaling. Not just writing down what happened, but reflecting on their inner world. Think of it like a captain charting their course or a coach reviewing the game tape. This daily review is absolutely essential for putting Stoicism into action. Marcus Aurelius's Meditations, that book we all admire, wasn't written for publication. It was his personal journal, his dialogue with himself, his tool for self-improvement. It's proof of this practice's power. So, how do you make this work for you? It's simple, but it requires discipline. At the end of your day, or maybe even in the morning, sit down with a notebook or a digital document. The format isn't important, the practice is. Ask yourself specific questions. How did I act today? Where did I feel strong, and where did I falter? What events happened? More importantly, what were my judgments about those events? This is crucial in Stoicism. Remember, it's not things that disturb us, but our opinions about things. Did I react with anger because I judged an inconvenience as a catastrophe? Did I feel slighted because I judged someone's neutral action as a personal attack? Journaling helps you identify these faulty judgments. Write down a specific instance. Today, my boss criticized my work, and I felt really defensive and upset. Then, apply the Stoic lens. Why did I feel upset? Because I judged his criticism as a threat to my competence and worth. Now, challenge that judgment. Was his criticism truly an attack on my worth, or was it feedback on a specific task? Was it something within my control, my work quality, or outside my control, his opinion or tone? How could I have reacted differently, in line with wisdom and justice? This isn't about beating yourself up, it's about honest self-assessment. It's about building self-awareness. Each entry becomes a small lesson. You see patterns in your reactions. You notice which principles you're applying well, like focusing on effort, not outcome, and which ones you're neglecting, like remembering the transient nature of things. It's like using a mirror, but for your mind and character. You can also use it to prepare for the day ahead, anticipating potential challenges and how you might apply Stoicism. But the reflection on the day past is perhaps the most potent part. What virtues did I have an opportunity to practice today? Where could I have shown more courage, justice, wisdom, or temperance? Did I remember what truly belongs to me? My choices, my judgments, my character, and what doesn't, everything else? This daily review, this consistent journaling, solidifies your understanding and makes Stoicism not just a philosophy you read about, but a practice you live. It's your personal accountability partner on this journey of self-mastery. It's how you make sure you're not just talking the talk, but walking the walk. Make it a non-negotiable part of your routine, like brushing your teeth. It's that fundamental to progress. We often think of obstacles as purely negative, something to avoid, overcome quickly, or simply endure. But the Stoics offer a radically different perspective, one that can truly transform how you experience difficulty. They teach us to view obstacles not as roadblocks blocking our path, but as opportunities. Opportunities, specifically, to practice the very virtues they held so dear: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. Imagine you're facing a difficult project at work, a conflict in a relationship, or an unexpected setback. Your immediate reaction might be frustration, anxiety, or anger. But the Stoic asks, how can this specific challenge allow me to demonstrate wisdom? How can I apply reason and sound judgment to navigate this? Where is the opportunity here to act with courage, to face fear or uncertainty head-on, instead of shrinking away? Does this situation call for justice, ensuring I act fairly and treat others with respect, even under pressure? And perhaps most importantly, how can I maintain temperance, staying calm and composed, refusing to be swept away by negative emotions? Think of it like a blacksmith working with metal. The fire, the hammer, the pressure, these aren't inconveniences to the metal. They are the very things that shape it, temper it, and make it strong and useful. Without the heat and the hammering, the metal remains just raw material, brittle and unformed. Our challenges are the fire and the hammer for our character. They are the resistance training for our soul, if you will. Just as lifting weights against resistance makes your muscles stronger, pushing through difficulties against resistance makes your inner self more resilient. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, captured this idea perfectly in his Meditations. He wrote, famously, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This isn't just a clever phrase. It's a profound truth about the nature of reality and our potential for growth. The very thing that seems to block you is, in fact, the path forward. It forces you to find a new route, develop a new skill, access a hidden strength you didn't know you possessed. It's the resistance that creates the path. So, how do you put this into practice? It starts with a conscious shift in perspective whenever you encounter a challenge, big or small. The next time you hit an obstacle, pause before reacting emotionally. Instead, ask yourself, what virtue does this situation demand of me right now? Is it patience? Is it perseverance? Is it finding a creative, wise solution? See the obstacle not as a sign that something is wrong, but as a prompt. A prompt to demonstrate virtue. A prompt to grow stronger. A prompt to prove to yourself what you are truly capable of. It's about reframing the narrative from, "Why is this happening to me?" to, "How can I use this to become better?" This single shift in mindset can turn suffering into a powerful engine for personal development. It is the Stoic superpower, turning adversity into advantage, using the obstacle itself as the fuel and the map for your progress. Every difficulty is not just endured, it is utilized. It is integrated. It is the forge where your best self is shaped. Okay, so we've journeyed through 5 powerful Stoic practices together, understanding what's within our control, appreciating what we have through negative visualization, voluntarily exposing ourselves to discomfort, finding clarity through journaling, and reframing the challenges we face as opportunities. These aren't just ancient philosophies. They are practical tools forged in the crucible of life's uncertainties. They are not meant to be just heard or understood, but actively lived. The true power of Stoicism isn't in knowing the principles, it's in embodying them. It's in the messy, everyday effort to apply these ideas when things get tough, when emotions flare, when the world doesn't cooperate. Resilience isn't a trait you're born with, it's a muscle you build. Contentment isn't a destination you arrive at, it's a state cultivated through intentional practice. So, as this video concludes, I want to challenge you. Don't let these insights simply become another piece of information stored away. Pick one of these methods, just one, and commit to practicing it this week. How can you apply controlling what you can to a current frustration? Where can you practice negative visualization to deepen your gratitude today? Can you seek out a small, voluntary discomfort to build fortitude? How can journaling help you process a recent event? Or perhaps, how can you reframe an obstacle you're facing right now? Look inward, assess where you are on this path. Be honest with yourself about the challenges you face in applying these ideas. This journey is deeply personal, requiring courage, consistency, and self-awareness. Remember, every small step you take in applying these principles brings you closer to a more resilient, more tranquil, and ultimately, a more fulfilling life, regardless of external circumstances. The power to navigate life's storms resides within you, waiting to be strengthened through these very practices. If you found value in exploring these Stoic methods with me today, please consider giving this video a like. It truly helps this wisdom reach more people who might benefit from it. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss future videos on living a more Stoic life. Join our growing community dedicated to practical philosophy and personal growth. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Tell me which practice resonates most with you or which one you plan to implement first. Your insights enrich our collective understanding. Thank you for watching, for investing your time in exploring these profound ideas. May you find strength, peace, and contentment as you continue to apply the wisdom of the Stoics in your daily life. It's not what happens to you, but how you reacted, that matters. Those words, spoken by the ancient Stoic philosopher Epictetus, cut right to the heart of a struggle many of us face every single day. We live in a world that constantly throws challenges our way, demanding jobs, complex relationships, unexpected obstacles. And how do we often react? With stress, frustration, anxiety, maybe even anger. Do you ever feel like your emotions are in the driver's seat, taking you on a wild ride you didn't sign up for? Like you're struggling to stay calm under pressure, constantly battling overwhelming feelings instead of controlling them. You're not alone. Millions feel controlled by their feelings, wishing for a reliable way to find inner peace amidst the chaos. But what if the secret wasn't some complex modern therapy, but a profound ancient wisdom? Stoicism is more than just a philosophy. It's a practical toolkit for navigating life's ups and downs with resilience and tranquility. It doesn't teach you to be emotionless. That's a common misconception. Instead, it teaches you to understand your reactions, manage your responses, and build an unshakable inner core. Imagine facing challenges not with dread, but with calm clarity. Imagine feeling confident and in control, no matter what life throws your way. That kind of life transformation isn't just a dream, it's an achievable reality through the power of Stoic principles. In this video, we're going to explore specific, actionable Stoic lessons designed to help you regain control of your emotional life, build incredible mental toughness, and unlock a level of inner peace you might not have thought possible. Get ready to change the way you respond to the world, starting right now. If you find value in learning how ancient wisdom can transform your modern life, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who might benefit, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on future insights. Your support helps us bring more of this practical philosophy to others seeking a calmer, more fulfilled life. Thank you. Have you ever felt completely overwhelmed, frustrated by things that just feel beyond your reach? Maybe it's the actions of a colleague, the endless traffic on your commute, the political climate, or even just the unpredictable weather ruining your plans. We spend so much mental and emotional energy stressing over these things, wishing they were different, feeling powerless. Well, the Stoics had a profound insight into this very common human experience, one that they believed was the absolute foundation of a tranquil life. It's called the dichotomy of control. Epictetus, the former slave turned Stoic teacher, put it most clearly in the very first sentence of his Enchiridion, our handbook. He said, "Some things are up to us and some things are not up to us." Sounds simple, right? But the implications are enormous. What is up to us, according to the Stoics? Our judgments, our impulses, our desires, our aversions. In short, everything that is our own doing. What is not up to us? Our body, our possessions, our reputation, public office, and essentially, everything that is not our own doing. Think about it. Other people's opinions of you, not up to you. The outcome of a job interview, not entirely up to you. The economy, definitely not up to you. The Stoic teaching is that our suffering comes primarily from confusing these two categories. We experience distress not because of external events themselves, but because we try to control or depend on things that are fundamentally outside of our control. We chain our happiness, our peace of mind, to outcomes that are subject to fortune, to other people's whims, or to forces of nature. This is, from a Stoic perspective, utter madness and the root of most of our anxiety and frustration. The power of this teaching, and where it becomes incredibly practical, lies in learning to consistently distinguish between what is within your sphere of influence and what is not. It requires a constant practice of awareness. The moment you feel irritation, anxiety, or anger bubbling up, pause for a second. Ask yourself, is the source of this disturbance something that is truly up to me? Is it my own judgment about the situation, my desire for a specific outcome I can't guarantee, or my aversion to something inevitable? Or is it rooted in something external, another person's behavior, an event, a physical condition I cannot change? If you realize it's something not up to you, the Stoic path isn't about becoming indifferent to the world. It's about acknowledging the reality of the situation and redirecting your energy. You shift your focus from trying to manipulate the uncontrollable external outcome to focusing on what is in your control. Your reaction, your attitude, your effort, your character in the face of it. This simple shift is liberating. It frees up immense energy that was previously wasted on futile attempts to control the uncontrollable. It allows you to act effectively where you do have power, which is always within your own mind and your own actions, while accepting the outcomes you cannot command. This isn't resignation, it's recognizing where true power lies. Now, let's talk about something fundamental, something that can truly shift your perspective on your daily struggles. Think about the last time you felt really upset, angry, or anxious. Maybe someone cut you off in traffic, or a colleague said something insensitive, or plans fell through. What was the feeling? Frustration, resentment, worry? It feels like the event itself caused the emotion, right? Like that rude driver injected anger directly into your veins, or that canceled plan instantly made you miserable. But Stoicism offers a powerful, counterintuitive idea here. It says that events themselves don't actually upset us. It's our judgment about those events that creates the emotional response. Imagine you're walking down the street and someone bumps into you. Hard. Your first reaction might be anger. How dare they? How careless. They did that on purpose. That immediate interpretation, that snap judgment, that's what fires up the feeling of anger. The physical bump happened, sure, but the meaning you assigned to it, the judgment that it was intentional, disrespectful, or unforgivable, that's the trigger for your internal storm. Think of it like this. The event is just the raw data. It's a neutral input. Your mind, however, immediately starts processing that data through a filter, your beliefs, your assumptions, your expectations. This filter applies a judgment. Is this good or bad? Fair or unfair? Respectful or disrespectful? Important or unimportant? It's this judgment that then tells your body and mind how to feel. If the judgment is, "This is terrible," or "This is an outrage," the emotion that follows will match that intensity. Here's the liberating part. While you can't always control whether someone bumps into you, or if traffic is bad, or if plans change, you absolutely can learn to question and even change your judgment. It's not easy, it takes practice, but it's where your power lies. Instead of letting that automatic judgment run the show, you can learn to pause. Just a breath, a beat, and ask yourself, is that first judgment the only possible interpretation? Is it even accurate? Could this person have been distracted, not malicious? Could the canceled plan simply be a change in circumstances, not a personal affront or a disaster? Consider a simple analogy. Imagine a piece of plain cloth. By itself, it's just fabric. But if you judge it as worthless scrap, you might discard it. If you judge it as potential for a beautiful dress, you handle it with care and creativity. The cloth didn't change, your judgment about its value and potential did. Our experiences are like that cloth. The stuff of life happens, and our judgments weave the emotional tapestry from it. The anger, the fear, the sadness, these are often symptoms of our internal judgments, not direct consequences of external reality. Learning to identify these judgments is the first, crucial step. It's about recognizing that the internal commentary is shaping your world, often more profoundly than the external events themselves. This practice of pausing and questioning that initial, automatic judgment is foundational to building emotional resilience and inner peace, because it puts the reins back in your hands. It shifts the focus from trying to control an uncontrollable world to mastering your internal response to it. The third powerful practice, deeply rooted in Stoic tradition, is called premeditatio malorum, or negative visualization. Now, Before you shut off the video thinking this sounds like pure pessimism, hear me out. This isn't about dwelling on the worst-case scenario to make yourself miserable. It's the opposite. It's a profound act of preparation and resilience building. The Stoics, like Seneca, actively encouraged us to spend time contemplating potential challenges and losses before they actually happen. Seneca urged us to rehearse our troubles, to sit with the uncomfortable idea of losing things we hold dear. Imagine losing your job tomorrow. Imagine losing your health or the health of a loved one. Imagine losing your possessions, your home, your car, everything you own. This isn't to invite these things, but to mentally prepare for their possibility. Think of it like a fire drill for your mind. You practice what to do during a fire, even though you hope one never happens. It's uncomfortable practice, but it's vital preparation that can save you from panic when the real event occurs. Epictetus taught that it's not events themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them. By contemplating potential losses, we challenge our ingrained judgments about how utterly terrible or unrecoverable such events would be. We mentally walk through the possibility of surviving and adapting, even without things we currently consider essential. Marcus Aurelius frequently reminded himself in his meditations of the impermanent nature of everything around him: people, power, life itself. This wasn't to be morbid, but to cultivate acceptance of reality's flux and to appreciate the present moment more deeply. A remarkable side effect of this practice is an almost immediate surge of gratitude for what you have right now. When you vividly imagine losing your home, coming back to the reality of having a roof over your head feels like an incredible blessing, not just a given. When you consider the potential loss of a relationship, the presence of that person in your life today becomes infinitely more precious. Seneca wisely stated, "He who has anticipated the coming of troubles takes away their sting when they arrive." This practice disarms anxiety about future uncertainty not by ignoring potential difficulties, but by facing them squarely in the safety of your mind. It strengthens your inner citadel, making you less dependent on fragile external circumstances for your peace. You realize your capacity to endure and adapt is greater than you think. It's about training your mind to be robust, prepared, and profoundly appreciative of reality as it is. Okay, let's talk about what the Stoics believed is the real bedrock of a flourishing life. Not external success, not popularity, not even comfortable circumstances. Their focus, and our next key insight for self-improvement, centers on cultivating virtue. Think about it. So many of us spend our energy trying to build a stable life out of things that can be taken away in an instant. Your job, your reputation, your possessions, even your health, are all vulnerable to the winds of change, aren't they? If your sense of worth or peace relies solely on these external things, you're essentially building your house on sand. The Stoics offered a radically different perspective. They said true happiness, true stability, comes from building your inner world, specifically by cultivating virtue. Virtue, in the Stoic sense, isn't just about being a good person in a simple way. It's about living in alignment with reason and our true nature, acting excellently in every situation regardless of the outcome. They identified 4 primary virtues as the cornerstones: wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. Picture yourself like a ship. External circumstances are the waves, the wind, the storms. If your anchor is outside the ship, reliant on calm waters or a perfect harbor, you're at the mercy of the elements. But if your anchor is internal, part of the ship itself, firmly rooted in the core principles you live by, you can navigate even the fiercest storm with stability. That internal anchor is virtue. Let's look closer at these 4. Wisdom helps you discern what is truly good, what is truly bad, and what is indifferent. It helps you see situations clearly, beyond initial emotional reactions. Justice guides your interactions with others, treating them fairly, honestly, and with kindness, recognizing our shared humanity. Courage isn't the absence of fear, but acting virtuously in the face of fear or difficulty, standing for what's right, enduring hardship with resilience. And temperance is about self-mastery, controlling your desires, impulses, and reactions, ensuring they don't control you. When your actions are guided by these internal moral principles, something profound happens. Your sense of self-worth becomes less dependent on external validation or whether things go your way. If you act justly, even if you're misunderstood or criticized, your inner compass tells you you did the right thing. If you face a challenge with courage, even if you fail externally, you know you met the moment virtuously. This isn't just theory, it's a practical way to build an inner fortress, a sense of peace and stability that no external storm can shake. Cultivating virtue is the ultimate act of self-improvement because it builds the most reliable foundation possible, your own character. Okay, let's dive into another critical piece of the Stoic toolkit, one that Epictetus called the most important thing, the very foundation upon which all other Stoic practices are built. This is the practice of prosage. It's often translated as attention, but it's more than just casual notice. It's an active, vigilant awareness of your inner world. Think of it like standing guard at the gates of your mind. Most of the time, our minds operate on autopilot. Impressions hit us. Something someone says, a news headline, a feeling in our body, and we react instantly. It's like our brain has a default setting for judgment and emotional response. See the speeding car, feel fear. Hear criticism, feel anger or defensiveness. This happens so fast we often don't even realize there was a moment where we could have chosen differently. We identify immediately with the initial impression and the resulting feeling, but the Stoics taught us that there's a crucial step we're skipping. Between the impression arriving and your reaction, there's a sliver of time, a space. Prosage is about widening that space. It's about noticing the impression as an impression, observing the thought as a thought, feeling the emotion as a feeling, before you automatically label it, judge it, or let it sweep you away. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, constantly reminds himself to examine the incoming impressions, to strip them down to their bare essence, removing the judgments he's added. He's practicing prosage. He's looking at the thing itself, not his opinion of the thing. Epictetus tells his students, it is not things that disturb us, but our judgments about things. And the key to accessing that truth is through prosage. It's the faculty that allows you to see your judgment separate from the external event. Imagine your mind is a pond. Without prosage, every falling leaf, every impression, creates ripples that cloud the entire surface, making it impossible to see clearly to the bottom. Prosage is like developing the ability to see the leafland. Notice the ripples begin, but maintain a clear view of the water's depth underneath. You see the impression, you see the potential reaction forming, but you don't become the reaction. So, how do you practice this active attention? It requires consistent effort, like training a muscle. Start by simply pausing before you react. When you feel anger rising, frustration bubbling up, or fear gripping you, just stop for a second. Notice the physical sensations in your body. Notice the thoughts racing through your mind. Identify the core judgment you're making. Am I judging this person as unfair? Am I judging this situation as intolerable? Another practical way is to practice mindfulness throughout your day, even for short bursts. While washing dishes, just wash dishes. Pay attention to the water, the soap, the feel of the plates. When walking, just walk. Feel your feet on the ground. Notice the sights and sounds around you. These simple acts train your attention muscle. They make you more present, more observant of reality as it is, not as your mind is spinning it. This heightened awareness is the soil in which Stoic wisdom can take root and flourish, allowing you to apply reason and virtue in the moment, rather than being carried away by the tide of automatic emotional responses. It gives you the power to choose your ascent. We've journeyed through some powerful Stoic insights today, exploring how this ancient philosophy offers a practical roadmap for navigating our often turbulent emotional landscape. We discussed the absolute necessity of focusing only on what lies within our control, our thoughts, judgments, and actions, and letting go of the rest. We delved into the practice of questioning our initial, often knee-jerk judgments about events, recognizing that it's rarely the event itself, but our interpretation of it, that causes distress. The value of mentally preparing for difficulties. The Stoic practice of premeditation of evils wasn't about being pessimistic, but about building mental resilience so we aren't caught off guard when adversity inevitably strikes. And we touched upon the fundamental Stoic principle of living in accordance with virtue, wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance, as the only true good and the ultimate guide for our actions, even in the face of challenging emotions. Finally, we highlighted the importance of developing mindful attention to our inner world, observing our thoughts and feelings without immediately identifying with them or being swept away by them. These aren't abstract theories, they are actionable principles. The true power of Stoicism isn't in knowing these ideas, but in consistently, patiently, and imperfectly applying them in the messy reality of everyday life. This is where the rubber meets the road. I encourage you right now to reflect on your own emotional responses. Where do you tend to lose your footing? Which of these Stoic practices feels most challenging, and which feels most needed? Don't just intellectualize this, pick one principle, perhaps focusing on control during your next moment of frustration, or pausing to question your judgment before reacting to annoying news, and commit to practicing it consciously, starting today. This journey towards emotional resilience through Stoicism is a marathon, not a sprint, but every single step forward, every conscious choice to respond differently, builds strength and brings you closer to a state of inner tranquility. You have the power within you to cultivate this resilience. It takes awareness, effort, and persistence, but it is absolutely attainable. If this conversation about Stoicism and emotional control resonated with you, if it sparked a new idea or reinforced a familiar one, please take a moment to give this video a like. Your likes signal that this kind of content is valuable and help expose more people to the profound wisdom of Stoicism. And if you want to continue exploring these ideas, if you're committed to living a more thoughtful, resilient life guided by ancient wisdom, then hit that subscribe button and join our growing community here. Share your own experiences and insights in the comments below. What's one specific situation where you plan to apply a Stoic principle to manage your emotions this week? Let's support each other on this path. Thank you for joining me today on this exploration. May you find increasing peace, strength, and wisdom as you put these Stoic lessons into practice in your own life.